Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dorcas debuara, and if you're new here, welcome to the community. Welcome. And from the topic, you already know that I've brought you the second part of the story about the boy who died after being flogged 164 strokes by his teacher in Ogun State. But if you missed the first part of the story, kindly check my description box. You'll see a link that will take you straight to the first part. And when you're done watching, you come back for the second part. So guys, let's get straight right into the video. In an interview this week with Arise News, the activist Adeoton revealed that she was actually in the UK when the news got to her. She picked up her phone, dialing up everyone who could help. She reached the Commissioner for Youth and Development to get immediate attention on this case. Unfortunately, the commissioner was just hearing about it. This was turning into a nightmare with each passing minute a ticking clock as Monday's family needed immediate response. Now, on getting to Abeokuta, Adeoton gets intel that the actual scene was a remote town called Obada, as mentioned in my first video.
We got to Abeokuta, we realized that it wasn't even Abeokuta, it was Obada, close to Imota, Imeko.
She quickly rerouted and got to the scene, only to find that it was a ghost town for the officials. No principal, no medical attention, no one to hold accountable.
When we got there, the principal was nowhere to be found, no hospital around there, no local government chairman to be spoken to.
The very people who should be there to offer answers and comfort were totally missing. Now, here's where it gets sketchy. Earlier that day, a few government officials had showed up at late Monday at Rio's house, but they weren't there to offer any help or even condolences. No, they allegedly tried persuading the family to bury their son on the spot with whispers of hush money and an apology letter.
The only thing that I kept on hearing and I confirmed was that some government officials still came there and that they were begging the families to go and bury the boy, and then they gave them cash and a letter.
They were trying to sweep everything under the carpet like nothing had happened. The family were already being devastated and now being told to keep quiet. There are more details on what happened in Obada Grammar School. Meanwhile, before moving on, if you're still watching this video, kindly give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment below. Let's get chatting, guys. Apparently, after getting the green light from the principal to discipline the students, the teacher ordered all the senior students, both SS2 and 3 students, boys and girls, to gather on the field. Then they started striking them, treating them as if they weren't teenagers, but soldiers in training. One by one, they received lash after lash until some of them physically could not take it anymore.
The principal gave instruction that they should discipline all the students. On disciplining all the students, they told all of them to get on the field, and then they started to stroke all of them, all the SS2 and SS3 students, gathered together, boys and girls, and then they started to beat them.
As the students began to collapse from exhaustion and pain, the teachers paid no concern. When Ariel passed out and even started throwing up, instead of pausing to assess his condition, oh no, they kept delivering more strokes and said he would eventually wake up. Ariel was visibly struggling, growing weaker by the second, and eventually fell, hitting his head hard on the ground, and no one came to help him, not one teacher.
Some of them passed out, and the teachers didn't care. So they said that Ondiboni, according to what the student said, that when he's ready, you wake up and continue with the strokes.
Only one student, horrified by what was happening, ran bravely to Ariel's mother's house nearby, of course, told her what was happening, and she hurriedly ran to school, found her son lying critically on the field, and immediately rushed him to the closest place she could find, a private hospital, as there was no health center nearby. Poor Monday, he has gone through so much, with severe injury, hopping between clinics, and eventually landed in the hospital where he took his last breath. Moving on, you would think there would be some kind of respect, some dignity, as the hospital broke the news to his family. But no, instead, there was silence. Yes, you heard me. Silence. A random person who had been there overheard the whispers among the medical staff, decided to start recording. And it was through his random act that the family even learned about their son who had passed away. As if things couldn't get worse, the family was now stuck. They needed a police report to take Monday's body to the morgue, but they couldn't get any. The police, the hospital, everyone seemed to vanish when they needed answers.
They couldn't take the body to FMC morgue because the police refused to give them a police report.
That night, that night, the family had to sleep with their deceased son's body at home because they couldn't legally move him. Adeoton, the activist, eventually convinced them to take Ario's body to the morgue. But then the officials kept pressuring them, convincing them to bury their son quietly. This added more pressure on them. Now, they weren't just mourning, they were now fighting a battle for basic dignity. The word of Monday's death started spreading, and the students, they didn't take it lightly at all. They didn't. They weren't just going to sit down and let one of their own be forgotten like that. Protests erupted, and the young students were demanding for justice and accountability. They went as far as trying to shut down the school themselves. But what was the response of the administration? More security. Yes, more security. They brought in the army, they brought in the Amotekun, they brought in the police force, and they guarded the whole school vicinity and compound. They tried to control the students, but this only fired up their outreach.
The school principal brought Amotekun to arrest the students. After beating them, they still went ahead and arranged for Amotekun to come and arrest the students. The students became rebellious. The Amotekun people ran away. And the students told me as at yesterday that tomorrow there would not be school, that they have to shut down the school on their own since the government has refused to come to their aid.
The tragic death of this young boy exposed even more deeper issues, exposing the cracks we didn't even know existed in the educational system. What was supposed to be a place of safety and learning had become a battleground, leaving parents wondering if the lives of their children were really safe. So here we are with a community that's heartbroken and angry. Students are determined to make their voices heard, and officials are scrambling to regain the narrative that's already been slipped through their fingers. So, guys, what are your thoughts on these stories? Leave your comments below, and of course, I'll bring you updates as the story unfolds. Bye, and see you in my next video.